shot across the way last night. It's a little bit close to home.
One suspect sits in custody tonight as police investigate a double homicide in North Spokane. Everything we know tonight.
Another round of fog expected for much of the inland Northwest before a soggy weekend ahead.
Plus, a new bill aimed at protecting voters' privacy in Washington now closer to becoming law. What it means for you and how lawmakers are reacting tonight.
Good evening and thank you for joining us for the night report here on KREM 2 News. I'm Sydney Schofield. Tonight, 2 people are dead and a suspect is in custody. Spokane police responded to reports of gunshots overnight at a North Spokane apartment near Nevada and East Coast Drive. That's where officers found the 2 victims. KREM 2's chief journalist Amanda Rowley was there on the scene all day and brings us what we know.
Spokane police say they have a suspect in custody on a temporary warrant for second-degree murder. Spokane police have been on scene all day collecting evidence on this double homicide shooting.
Overnight, neighbors woke to the sound of gunshots.
I didn't really investigate, I just heard a noise and went back to sleep because there's a lot of random noises around this area, so.
It wasn't until later this morning Micah Chura learned the gravity of that particular noise.
I heard that somebody had been shot across the way last night. It's a little bit close to home, literally. It's right in the, not just in my block, it's on next building over, so.
Spokane police say officers responded to the North Spokane apartment after multiple 911 calls about a disturbance and shots fired around 11:30 last night. That's when they discovered 2 people dead.
The person in the apartment we ended up locating was the one we were looking for from the beginning.
Officer Dan Strassenberg says police identified one suspect in a nearby apartment unit. We have video of a man who police took into custody, but we do not know his identity.
Detectives had figured what was going on. They entered murder warrants for him into the system. So he is currently in custody on those second-degree murder warrants. He is currently at the hospital because when he came out, he had injuries somehow sustained previously for us showing up.
Officers evacuated the apartment complex until they detained the suspect. Now, according to the Spokane Police Crime Dashboard, this is the first homicide investigation this year. The most recent double homicide shooting in Spokane happened in September last year on Spokane's South Hill near Chase Middle School.
How are you doing?
Oh, I'm fine now. I mean, we live in the world we live in today, so there's always a threat, but at least this one has been neutralized.
Now, police say these details are preliminary. We still don't know the motive or the identities of the victims or the suspect. Police say the suspect is expected to remain in the hospital overnight. Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
Okay, let's talk weather now. Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo in our Outdoor Weather Center. Jeremy, are we expecting more fog tonight into tomorrow?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just that weather pattern. We can't really get out of it. We tried. We did a decent job on today's Thursday, Wednesday, yesterday, but today we were back in that fog. And with temperatures dropping, we are back down below freezing. Our dew point at 30 degrees. Fog is imminent at this point. We have temperatures hovering pretty close to freezing, a little warmer in Sandpoint and Coeur d'Alene and Moscow, staying on the warm side of things. But here you go. Fog builds back in overnight. We're likely waking up to another round of it tomorrow morning. It should break up and move out by the middle of the day. Unfortunately, that correlates to more cloud cover building in ahead of a round of rain that hits late Saturday. Should arrive 4 or 5 p.m. on Saturday, continue through Saturday evening. And by the time we get to Sunday, we're waking up to dry conditions before rain returns late in the morning and takes us through a soggy afternoon. 44 degrees tomorrow under mostly cloudy skies after that morning fog. 46 with showers returning in the evening on Saturday, and Sunday it's rain once we get through a dry morning.
Jeremy, thank you. Tonight, a bill aimed at protecting voter privacy in Washington state passed a major hurdle to potentially become law. KREM 2's Connor McAvoy tells us what those for and against the protection have to say about it.
In a broader search to protect voter privacy, Washington lawmakers are weighing Senate Bill 5892. It guarantees information voters reveal to county elections offices in Washington state stays private. That includes driver's license numbers, social security numbers, and birth dates.
This is long protected confidential information that should stay protected in our state.
Washington State Senator Marcus Riccelli from Spokane is one of the bill's sponsors. He says this bill's on the table after President Donald Trump sued several states and threatened legal action against Washington State in 2025 for refusing to provide personal voter information from the state's voter database. This, the administration says, was to find nationwide evidence of voter fraud. Senator Riccelli argues those requests need to be centralized toward the Secretary of State, as that agency oversees state elections and the elections database.
It doesn't matter who's in the White House. This is a federal overreach, and we should do everything in our power and use our states' rights mentality to protect people's sensitive information.
Under the bill's guidelines, anyone at the county level proven to have turned over private data receives a Class C felony charge. In Washington State, that's punishable by a fine of up to $10,000 and/or up to 5 years in prison. This sparked opposition from Washington State Senator Jeff Wilson. He argued the punishment for revealing that information to federal authorities doesn't fit the crime.
I just don't think that those county election offices should have to be subject to such very strict matters as proposed in this bill.
I asked Senator Riccelli for his thoughts about the consequences if this bill becomes law. Here's what he had to say.
And some say that's pretty harsh, and I say yes, because it's harsh to turn over a bunch of personal private data.
This bill passed the state Senate and now waits to be voted on in the House. Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
A divisive bill among Idaho cosmetologists is getting a do-over. House Bill 547 would have significantly cut the education and apprenticeship hours needed for a cosmetology license in Idaho. It's now being rewritten after closed-door talks between lawmakers and industry leaders. Supporters argued the current requirements prevent people from entering the workforce quickly. Opponents, like salon owners, warn that reducing hours would compromise training and safety, sanitation, and technical skill. We'll be following the new changes to the proposed law in the days ahead. All right, it's time for your Night Beat with a quick look at today's top stories. A U.S. District Court judge sentenced a Spokane man to 7 years in prison for distributing illicit drugs to the community. 38-year-old Timothy Hanahan used the moniker Big Mike and distributed meth and fentanyl, according to investigators. He was known to distribute drugs near the House of Charity in downtown Spokane. In a statement, the special agent in charge said, in part, quote, Mr. Hanahan repeatedly brought dangerous drugs into the heart of downtown Spokane and actively expanded their distribution. This sentence disrupts a supply chain that was harming this community, end quote. After serving his sentence, he'll be on 4 years of supervised release. Earlier today, a train derailed near Blue Creek off Highway 395. Stevens County Emergency Management posted these pictures on their Facebook page. Right now, railroad crews are there assessing the situation. It looks like parts of the track and several of the rail cars were damaged. 1 or 2 of the train cars are hanging off the side of a bridge over water. Emergency Management says this is not affecting any of the roadways. And also earlier today, a Washington State patrol car was hit by a semi-truck at the I-90 US 195 off-ramp. According to WSP, a trooper was investigating a one-car crash near the off-ramp, which was partially blocked. That's when the semi-truck tried to go around the patrol car, leading to the collision. No one was hurt. That's it for your Night Beat. For more on any of these stories, just head to our website, krem.com. All right, stay with us. There's much more here on the KREM 2 Night Report tonight. As exciting as this week is for fans, it's just as exciting and maybe a little nerve-wracking for the players' families. Jim Nelson with our Seattle sister station talked to the parents of one of the Seahawks rookies making a big impact.